Hello and welcome. This is our very last episode of Thrive by Design. Here we are going into the very last hub, the head hub. So we've already traversed all the other 8 hubs in the body graph. We call them hubs because they're homes, their meeting place, their center points, their gathering points for the archetypes that live in them. So here we are going to do some chart readings for some members of our inner circle community. They have already traveled last week with us into the head hub, and we're now going to dive into the charts together with 3 different members. So here's the head hub. It's about inspiration and sense making. The archetypes that live here are the artist, archetype 64, the mystic, archetype 61, and the detective, archetype 63. So they share the commonality of being in this center together, where we're going to find inspiration, ideas, sense making, and yeah. Anything that you'd like to add as we open and move forward?
Yeah, that we can't isolate the head and say, okay, let's just speak about the head in this chart. So it's going to be definitely a weaving and hopefully not forgetting about the head, including the head. So, and see if we can invite those 3 archetypes to illuminate what's there in the charts that we will be looking at.
Okay. Well, here, let's go into the first chart. So, Amy is pretty new to the inner circle. Amy is a 6-2 sacral manifesting generator. She has her sacral defined. That links her up to the throat, so this is going to make her an MG. She does have a very defined head with 2 out of 3 gates here, so she has that artist that's linking up with the alchemist archetype. This is going to be allowing her to see the abstract images, visuals, memories of the past. The 64 is going to look at those memories as different puzzle pieces. The 47 is going to come in and it's going to put these puzzle pieces together to make sense, a picture of what it means. The illumination comes when they work together in a way to extrapolate what happened in the past. What is this about? So because this is part of collective circuitry and this other side is part of collective circuitry, a lot of the way that she thinks has to do with either abstract or logical thinking. Here in the abstract, she's looking at the past. Over here in the logical with the 63 and the 4, she's looking towards the future. So she's got this balance happening between the head and the ajna, where she's recanting the past, looking at what happened, extrapolating some information from that. The 63 and the 4, the 63 is the detective and the 4 is the philosopher. So they're going to work together to make sense and figure out patterns that they're going to be able to carry forward into the future. So it's future directed and oriented with the 63 and the 4, and past directed and oriented with the 64 and the 47. So I'll leave it at that for this identification of what's happening in the head and ajna. And then Bella, with her chart, where do you feel like the entry point is here?
I am drawn to the 6th line in the IQ and the EQ, and the fact that it's exactly the same keynote. And I feel that when we have, especially 2 keys that are close to each other and that are connected, the IQ and the EQ, so this is design or personality Mars and personality Venus, there is something there that can loop even more. And we were just speaking before this call, we were speaking about the 24 and how things can loop and it can be hard to get out of the loop. And here, what I feel, I mean, I do see a very powerful design with a lot of that middle pillar. I see the 34-20, a lot of power there. I see the 45-21, a lot of power there. And I feel that a little bit of the challenge here as a role model as well, a 6th line that has that kind of perfection and vision, it can be that with that 9.6, you aren't happy with the small successes. You kind of want to see the evolution of the whole humanity, or for yourself, like you want to see the big successes, but really with the ninth gene key or the ninth archetype is the mountaineer. It's a sacral gate, and it walks step by step, and it enjoys the ride on the mountain. It's not just the goal of the top, it's the intention and the energy put in every step. And that seems like a very important thing for your mind, for your emotions, to actually be calm and allow you to be centered, to not always look at that long run and kind of not live in the moment, not see the small steps. That feels super important. There's a lot of leadership with, again, that 45-21, that is your attraction and your culture. So the leader kind of want to say, I have it all under control. I have it all under my hands in a way. But the 9.6 says I'm enjoying the small steps, so that it feels like that could be a little bit of tension in your chart. And here is where I feel like bringing the channel of 515, the rhythm, so that you actually do feel into your natural rhythm. How is it that you climb that mountain? Are you sometimes hurrying up the mountain with a 3420, that manifesting generator channel that can just go for the sake of going? And we actually don't want you to do that. We want you to savor it and to be in your own natural rhythm. The 15 is your pearl, and it's actually a fourth line, so it likes to enjoy it with others as well. So it's important who is on your mountain, who do you actually stop and enjoy with. The same thing, your culture, there is a fourth line. So both your expansion keys, the pearl and the culture, both your Jupiters are fourth lines. So they are here to weave with others. They're here to be in community and in trust and in the heart space with others. The same thing with the attraction. So here with fourth lines too, it's like in the heart space or not. And if you are so focused on kind of reaching the mountaintop, you're not going to enjoy the people, and you're also possibly going to feel inadequate, which is the 48. And maybe you're running so fast or being so perfect because of that fear of failure in the 32. But again, that's an illusion, because you're here to be the guardian of the things that are worth living and worth preserving. And in your case, with a lot of fourth lines and a lot of sixth lines, I definitely feel that what's worth living, it's not just the victory, it's the everyday, the heart and the vision and all the things, the sixth line, all the lines that are there for the sixth line to understand, enjoy, and role model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with a lot of six lines and a lot of objectivity and overview and also forward movement with the 9, it's like progress feels good. Getting step by step towards that thing feels good, but are you taking the time to pause, to still your body? The 9 needs the 52. The 9 needs the stillness to know where do you channel that energy, because you can channel it everywhere. You have the 34 and the 9, and in a way you're probably like all over the place, but it's like, where is the most potent and impactful channel for your life force to flow to? And also, if the 42.6 is in your evolution sphere, there's an importance of coming to completion and closure with cycles and things. And if you don't take the time to finish, to complete, to go over the things you've experienced, then you're not going to feel that celebration. You're not going to feel that completion. Things are not going to be ending there. And I think you need that overview to see, okay, what has transpired, what has happened. And if your trajectory here in your nodes is to go into the tranquil archetype, right, that is also like the now moment. So can you bring yourself to the now, bring your presence here, instead of either going to the past or going to the future? Can you be now? Can you be here? Because you can get pulled in the past or the future with a lot of the things that are going on in your mind. If you don't include your body, do you let your mind run you, or are you letting your response inform you? Do you let your mind run you, or do you let your sacral response guide you, inform you, move that way? Yeah, a lot of powerful energy in this chart, and in some cases, like unconscious channels happening here. You do know what to do and how to utilize your power in the now. But it doesn't mean we're not going to spend time going over and second guessing where we need to go. and not trusting that Black Panther that you have here. So there's not a direct connection that makes you a single definition. You don't have the 11, so you're not connecting to the rest of the body graph. So you could escape into the mind. And that's oftentimes, we're shown by society to be in the mind. But you need that stillness because you are also a quad left, or right, sorry, receptive. You're not here to be focused. Focus, 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 focus. You are here to receive your environment, to slow down, to be in stillness, to allow it to come in, to percolate as well. Yeah. Does that resonate? I know that you're on here, Amy. Yes. Yes. Anything else to add? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of dynamic energy going on in your chart. I can be busy. You can do things. You have creative as well. So it feels like already your nervous system is primed and prepped to go. I hope that you have to allow you to and receive in a way. Do you have a or a wrap or?
Well, I would go deeper into that 48.3 because like it looks like you have that kind of everything is waterproof. When you look at the 6-2, when you look at the 32 that doesn't want to make mistakes, and the 42 that kind of follows the expectations. Like there is something here where I feel like it's the core 48.3, like that kind of double inadequacy that we have there, that is, it's kind of veiling something from the lineage. So where did your ancestors, your mom, your dad, where did they perceive failure? And this can be perceived failure, it doesn't have to be real failure. And what was it that didn't allow them to live fully or live in balance, I guess. I think it's interesting too, because like just to, I don't know if you have a fifth line attraction or a fourth line attraction, because in the gene key chart it says fourth line, and in the other chart it says a fifth line. So there can also be an exploration for you to be, okay, who am I in intimacy? What do I attract? Is it more this sensitivity for the other, where it's so important to be friends first and it's so important to feel the heart and the trust? Or is it a much more sensual way of actually a double kind of leadership that can be almost too powerful? The 21.5 is possibly one of the most powerful keys in all the keys. And how is that for me? Definitely when I see programming partners that way, the 48 and the 21, I wonder how is that core wound connected then to what's on the other side of the 21. Am I right? They're a programming partner. What are they? I'm seeing them together. Are they a programming partner, Ashley?
What are you referring to? What did you say?
The 21 and the 48.
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct.
So that's what I'm seeing in front of me, and I wonder what the pattern is there. And I'm feeling that it's a different wound pattern if it's a fourth line or a fifth line. So that would be my next step for you to dive into, and maybe even like go deeper or do a like, I don't even know, because it feels like for us it would be important to have you with us. If we would do a longer reading, we would probably not want to do a recorded reading, but actually have you kind of guide us where we would go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your charts with us and putting it all on the table the first month you join. I don't think people generally realize how vulnerable sharing your chart is, especially people that know how to read the chart. It's really cool. And I guess maybe me and Bella know more about you than even your closest friends, by looking at this. There's so many projections that can show up in life too, and by us too. We're just reading the chart and kind of intuitively feeling into it, but that's where it really is helpful to have the person on the other side kind of guiding and directing. Yes, it's this, because there's a repressive nature and a reactive nature, and we don't know how you're living it out or playing it out. You can just kind of get a little bit of sense of that.
And also, always when we do a reading, we know what happened the 7 first years, and then what happened, like what happened in the SQ, what happened in the EQ, what happened in the IQ. And that's what's going to imprint everything that happens later and how you actually start expressing the whole pearl sequence. So that's why without that, it's actually a little bit tricky to weave in any kind of detail.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your chart with us, Amy, and we'll kind of um, take a little commercial break before we go into the next one. But I feel like we'll kind of move in through the portal of the vocation sphere in a way, because Bella and I spontaneously put this event up with little to no detail about what it is. This is a paid event. It's not a free event. It's $44. It's going to be on Lionsgate Monday the 8th and Wednesday the 10th. There'll be a Facebook group. There's also a course where the replays will be in. You'll have that course forever. This is a little bit different. There will be, in a way, what you're used to with us, with like a little bit of like teaching and theory and the things that me and Bella are bringing in, the innovation in a way. And then on the 10th, there'll be a healing event. We're going to kind of come back to the source, come back to the core. What is the core? Oh, what is the core wound? We're going to be traveling to the womb waters. And we're going to be utilizing this portal to return to the womb, to reset and reclaim, in a way, that which has always been ours, but we sit in the womb of our mother. We sit in the womb with her energy, with everything she's going through, and we are being imprinted. Not to say that we don't need that and it's not helpful and it's not good. Yes, it is. It is. But as you are an adult, you may want to let go of some of the conditioning. You may want to let go of some of the things that aren't yours. You may want to allow yourself to rewire in a way so that you can not be so, not have your wires crossed with your
And I
lineage.
also feel just in time for Lionsgate, this is leading up to the full moon in Leo. So it's definitely a rewiring of some of that imprinting that has to do with your place in the lineage, which is going to allow you to step into that Leo leadership in the Leo Lionsgate portal. And then there is going to be kind of a few ways forward that we'll speak about once we're there. But definitely, if you're in the inner circle, I feel like this is part of the path already. And if this live stream is somewhere else, it can be a way in to see the universe without signing up to something super long, to just do those 72 hours when the Lions Gates opens with us, can be a way of just feeling into what some of the things that we unlock through the work together are.
Yeah. And in a way, a lot of what we do, they're thresholds. And so what we like to do is we like to honor people that are action takers, people that are following their instinct, people that are following their intuition. We're in the head center right now. There's not a lot of details here, right? It's like, do you feel the pull to this? If you do, you leap into it. You leap into the portal knowing that this is probably for you. It's $44 until Sunday, and Sunday we're going to raise the price to $88. So for now, if you get it, and we're just announcing it now here, it's Wednesday, so you have a few days to really decide, do I want to come into this? Do I want to explore this? Do I want to receive the transmission and kind of go back to the womb to see what healing or rewiring wants to happen here? Because if we've just exited from Cancer, right? We were just in Cancer. Is that what
We're
the
in
fourth?
Leo.
Well, now, but where we were.
Yeah, so we went from Cancer into Leo, and this is connecting also to the moon somehow and the mother. So yeah, there are going to be many little things to kind of pull back into sovereignty here already starting. And of course, meeting twice, we're not going to change the whole world, but we're going to get kind of all the things that we can continue to pull then to bring back things into core stability, into sovereignty.
Yeah. Not with our will, with divine will in a way. Whatever is meant to happen will happen. So if it feels really strong for you, maybe it is. And it's not necessarily me or Bella, it's the portal and the set and setting that maybe you need to have that breakthrough that is possible for you, to come into self-expression, to come into yourself, you know? Okay, well, I hope you join us, bit.ly/UYD-rewired, the simple way to get there. We have banners up. Those banners have links. Please join us. We hope to see you inside. Next chart. Deborah.
And thank you for the non-patients and then the patients.
Thank you for the non-patients.
First, like, oh my God, you didn't go live. And then now we did.
Now we did. It pays off. It's okay. It's fine. It needed to be now and not then. We trust divine timing too.
Anywho, Terry,
yeah.
I actually think a bit about you when I see this chart, to just say that there is definitely in the inner circle, I see that there's some dynamics of people that are there in the designs where you have like similar things. And here, definitely just what stands out to me, and then I'm going to let Ashley speak about the head hub. But I do feel like looking at this human design body graph, that 659 is super, super powerful. And it's also 2 times 59 in the pearl sequence. So that's really what stands out to me. But I want to kind of be respectful to the head hub and let you actually kind of say something about that.
Well, it looks like the head hub has its own deal going on up here, right? We have this, like, we have the throat, the ajna, and the head. Then we have the super potent sacral and emotional energy that are linked up by the channel of mating. So I know that you recognize that. That's super powerful over here. What we can see is that her ajna and her head are defined because she has this 4764 channel, right? She is the artist, is the only one that's defined in here. So what is going to be the flavor of what comes into the head will lead her into confusion, imagination, illumination. When she's in confusion, Deborah's going to be looking at the pieces to be like, all right, how are we going to put this together? Because she does have the 47. So there is a way for her to bring that energy down. It goes down and it has its insights and epiphanies, and it's able to translate those insights and epiphanies because she does have the 4323 channel. This is all about individual insights and epiphanies that then can be translated by this translator archetype. Where it goes from there, it depends. Right? It's going to come out through the throat in some way, through the 23 or the 33, telling its stories as the medicine woman, recanting that. It seems like, right, we have the sensing circuit, collective circuit, and then we have over here the medicine woman. So in a way, she's coming in to share, this is what I think about these past experiences. This is the medicine I've learned from moving all the time. This is what I've learned from being in these different relationships. This is the medicine that I can give to myself that I'll share with you. And in a way, these are individual insights that may inspire other people, but they are her epiphanies. They are her insights and they are her stories. But to share them is to heal the collective, is to heal the other. We can also see that she has the 24, the inventor archetype in the ajna, and the 4, which is the philosopher. The philosopher wants to know, it wants to find the truth. It's reaching for the 63. So in a way, she can pair up with other people that may have that, or she's going to try to create that energy for herself with the 63 by asking questions. She wants to be understood. She wants others to understand her. The 4 is the 4.2, which I think that Amy had the 4.6 in her SQ. So Amy wanted her inner child to be understood, and she needed patience, time, and space for her to actually understand herself, understand the world. It takes time to understand. It takes time to forgive. And here we have the 49 and the 4 and the nodes for Deborah. And so part of what Deborah's doing is she's trying to understand the pattern behind things and behind other people, and she wants that to be mirrored. So I think in a way too, looking to see, in the environment that I'm swimming in, am I being received and understood? Or is there still, is that not happening? You have the 4.3 in your life's work as well. It's your north node and it's your life's work. Second line here, third line here. There's going to be many misunderstandings, and that may create provoke reaction or whatnot. But the arrival at understanding together is where you feel, oh yes, I feel like your whole trajectory and purpose in life is to arrive at some kind of understanding with yourself, with the other, many different opportunities to kind of figure out what's the pattern here. And the 4.3 is going to be working with the wild woman as well, because it's part of the same circuitry. You're looking for the rhythm, the pattern that works for you. Yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to put on the table or make sense of for now.
Like I feel like I need to breathe with this chart, and I feel like my voice is this weird today. And my because I feel like there's something with this chart. I see all these third lines, and I guess that's why I have to just be in humor instead of being in like, I don't know. So third line life's work, third line pearl, third line SQ, third line vocation, lots of third lines. And we know that in the shadow frequency, this is shame and failure. So it's very heavy. And we have keys like the 64 that can be very confusing, the 15 that can be very, very frenetic in the nervous system. And then the 59, it's like, for me, there is something here again. So definitely, I think that for some reason, this is all reading us into rewired, because I also in this chart feel so much energy around that 59.3 and something that has been conditioning a whole lineage here. So what is the failure that has led to dishonesty, to an impossibility for intimacy, for transparency, for truth and honesty in the lineage? There's something there that is very wired, that is very has a lot of voltage in it. And what it feels like, what it leads to in the EQ, all these third lines, is what I feel is that I have the 57 twice. So I know that unease, agitation, unease that's there. And I feel somehow with all that energy that you have in your head, in your ajna, in your throat, and I think you've said it sometimes, Deborah, like being in the emotion is not that easy. It's much easier actually to stay in the kind of thinking and understanding around things. And really, when we work with the whole Venus sequence, it is definitely to become whole from the fragmentation of these different parts, not wanting to feel the core wound that is so wired and so high voltage that isn't even yours, but that you actually came here to resolve, which is honesty, about honesty and 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 failure, like what I just said. And then the child that wasn't understood, and the child that lives in the adult that doesn't feel understood either, because of that inner child is not understood. And then running away from the emotions. So what has the only place where you can really be is in the 52.2, that brilliant mind that you have. That's the way where you can be. And what we know is that there is like a fulcrum: vocation, SQ, EQ. In the middle you have Venus, SQ, and on the sides you have Mars, vocation, and EQ. And it kind of sits like, it kind of gets stuck like this, and it can't even do that. It gets stuck. It's like the hormonal axis, the HPA axis inside the human being that becomes stuck, and then the whole hormonal system becomes way off, and it feels really not good in the body, agitation and unease again. So here it is to come back to the SQ and be the parent for that child. And it's humor. In a way, humor is the only way. Humor and celebration is the only way back from this, if we think in the big. But the way that you do it is reparenting the child. So she needs understanding, and she needs to be able to be that wild child. Like, you cannot tame her. She's not here to be tamed. So you have to be the parent that stands strong for that right of the child. And then in the EQ, you are here to find those relationships where there is respect, reverence, where there is a joint vision, where actually your intuition is not even just respected, but seen as a role modeling. And other people with a similar sensitivity and intuition, these are the people that are here to re-imprint what it is to be in an emotional space with other people. um and definitely as well with a life force, there is a romance. Like, you're here to celebrate life and live life as a romance, and it's a Taurus quality. So again, it says you can't be in your mind and your understanding, you need to also be in your body. 24.4. And the last kind of image that I get, when it comes to the fifth lines that you have in the radiance and the purpose, like, it's so mental in a way, 23, 43, and fifth lines, that it feels like there is almost like a ritual here where you need to like swallow your mind, or something like that. Like, how can you take that genius that you have in your insight, in your spontaneous way of, like, how can that come in to the body, to the core stability? Like, how are you joining the three centers on the top to that inner authority, which is the sacral, together with emotion? Like, how can you do that? And I kind of see a swallowing of understanding into the body and into the belly and into the laughter of the belly
Mm.
somehow.
Yeah. I see it with others. The laughter with others, the being with others, the mirroring with others. It's in the others that you begin to see and understand yourself. And the 49 is tribal in a way. It needs to smell its people. It needs to touch its people. And your G knows where it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to go. So I feel like what is going to do it, being in the right place at the right time with the right people, and it's like leading with your sacral. Your sacral knows, it's like this GPS that's bringing you there. It knows where it needs to go, and where what's being filled in is the G. Right place, right time, right people. You're going to be able to, you know, bridge that large split when you're with a lot of people.
And there is a keynote from astrology that seems super important. So you have Mars 57.6, which is your EQ, that is the same gate as your Pluto. And they are kind of, they have to do with eighth house. They have to do with death in a way. They have to do with Scorpio. So I wonder where that is. Like, I wonder where in your, like, what house in your chart the 57 is in, because I feel like there's an action, there's a death, there's a rebirth that needs to happen there. And that rebirth is fueled by your intuition, by you actually, it's fifth line and sixth line. So it's kind of it's a development of like where you are in your intuition now. And I think maybe before you were, I don't know why, but for some reason you have, like, you're learning to feel your intuition and not maybe thinking your intuition, I guess. And last thing, or maybe I don't know if it's the last thing, but what I want to say too, when it comes to what you're doing in the world, I feel like you are like a stand-up or something. Like, you are working, actually you're alone on a stage. And I'm saying that because your north node is Leo on both sides, so there's the leadership there. Your sphere relating Mercury is the 33.1, which is also a Leo keynote. It's the storyteller, and it's a first line. So it's like your voice, it's your 4323 that just kind of spontaneously shares, and your culture is the first line. So by spontaneously sharing your empowerment or your voice or your depth, that first line, whether we say empowerment, depth, or uniqueness, all these are first line keynotes. You are going to touch others. Intimacy 59 in the culture. And I feel like that is kind of what's also allowing you to show the universe that you have re-encoded the core wound, where it seems like honesty was a failure to express, or was shame to express in one way or another.
Mm. Yeah, I don't. I like what you said, and when you were talking about the Leo gates, I was like, oh, the 29 and the 4, those are both in the codon ring of union. She also has the 59, which is in the codon ring of union, and this is the quarter of duality, where it's transformation through relationships. I believe. I think. Yeah, yeah. It's that, yeah, exactly. So there's something about relationships as well. Standing on your own, knowing yourself, being in your aloneness on the stage, like she was saying, but then also the transformation happening in relationships, in that corridor of duality where transformation happens there. Where if your Pluto is 57.5, entering into that realm, you have an open splenic center too. So I guess that those insights come with the other as well.
And a last little nugget here
Nugget.
from the Pearl sequence is that in order for that child to feel like it can lean back against something and that there is some stability in this world, it's actually by you constantly, in a way, choicelessly is what I want to say, possibly from all the third lines, transmuting karma. Like when you say yes to that, when you say yes, I'm a catalyst, I'm a transmuter of karma wherever I go, suddenly, because that's the 47-year Saturn on the design side, and that sits right behind the SQ. So when you accept that role and grounding into that role somehow, without really having to do anything because it's in the body, that's also when that child that is a little bit extreme and frenetic, that's when she can find some solace, is what it feels like, which is a little bit contradictory because transmuting karma doesn't really feel like calm. But she knows you. She knows what adult you came here to be. And when you take that role as her parent, she's going to be able to relax.
Well, thank you, Deborah and Bella, for that, and me for illuminating the chart. And yeah, I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that it resonates as well. Oh, good, you responded. I was looking to see if you were writing anything in the chat, Deborah, and I was like, is she here? She is here, but she's not saying anything. So thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Moving forward. Commercial break. I have 3 short things to share just about the inner circle. If you do want to join us on Mondays, we have our walking the wheel calls. This is about going through each of the gates as they are in transit every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European time, except next Monday because we're going to be doing Rewired. Every Monday we meet for transit talk, and there's a lot of, it's dynamic. There, you don't know really what to expect except that we're centering around the archetype, and either Bella hosts or I host. We don't host together, so you're going to get a different kind of flavor depending on who's hosting as well. And then we also have Creator Studios on Wednesdays. Bella and I just did that. We recorded a new piece for the Inventor archetype, Archetype 24. That's at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. These are all live events inside the inner circle. You'll be able to join the Zoom. They are not recorded. This is all about cultivating this live community energy and having people together in the now moment. So, yes, when you join the inner circle, however, you do get access to the Unlock Your Design Vault, and that has a lot of extra stuff from the past there. So if you do want to go into that stuff, you can, but we're all about aliveness in the now. And the last thing about the inner circle is we have open space on Fridays with Kilo. They are very flowy, intuitive, dynamic. There's a lot of potential for healing, transparency. A lot of really cool stuff comes. I feel like that's the space where a lot of the inner circle members create connection and bonds, and it's a beautiful space to be at. That's 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. Central. You can join the inner circle with the link bit.ly/UID-IC. When you do that, if it's your first time joining us, use the code community and you get 50% off your first month, making it 22 instead of 44. Anything you want to share about the inner circle, Bella, before we get to the last chart?
Well, it's definitely a place for more depth and commitment than just flowing or floating around in the Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are inspiration, but in the inner circle, there is this possibility for actually be with other people that are committed to this path. And I mean, over the 4 last years, actually, I mean, I've seen so many people starting in the inner circle that are now in different way incorporating gene keys and human design in their work, but not the way we do, in so many different unique and creative ways. So it seems like the whole inner circle is a kind of creator studio where you come in, and for some reason something is alchemizing in you, and you actually often find the diamond that you are here to share with others. So I really like the space. Usually it's not more than 10 people from the inner circle on the calls, because there are different hours and there's so many things every week. So it's a very intimate space. And there are people who are just there for the content, but more and more we are doing things live. So that's also why we have kind of that community where we know everybody by name, and we start to even know their charts and be like, oh, you have open throat, right? We just had hanging 16, like we kind of know that. And then it's funny to kind of actually be able to for real have a community. I mean, I'm a force of people where we know who we are in even if we never have met, and hopefully we are also going to meet. I feel that more and more with the inner circle, that I would like to have the opportunity as well a few times per year in different places of the world to come and be a community, not only virtually.
Yes, coming soon. Okay, please join us. We'd love to have you. Boom. Okay, last chart. I love that everybody that was getting their chart read is in the Zoom room. So cool. Heather's here. Hi, Heather. It's
And
your
look
turn.
what a cool design, like what different it is, like how it's like two parts of the chart of the body graph. Like this really kind of has me intrigued.
Wonderful. Okay, so Heather is a 4/6 sacral generator. She likes community too. She's a 4/6. She's in the inner circle. She only has the mystic archetype in an open head center. This archetype is here to find inner truth. It's looking for that truth. It's asking the why questions. It is very open. You can notice that she has a lot of open centers in her chart. This is where she's going to be receptive from the other. Oh, there's no variables up in here. That's okay. Anyways, she's going to be receiving from the other in these centers. Let's see, the only channels that you have, Heather, is we have the 50/27. The 50 is the maestro. The 27 is the nourisher. We come together. This is tribal energy. The 50 is all about responsibility, education of the tribe, of the people. 27, the nourishment of the children. This is, I'm curious to see if this is your strength. It isn't necessarily defined in you, in your personality side, because it's design. So I'm wondering, like, do you notice that in yourself? Or maybe you're really good with children. I don't know. I'm sensing the children aspect of this. I don't know if that comes through. I don't know if you do have any children. I don't know you that well yet. However, you also have the 1858 channel, and this is all about correction. And when we're looking at channels, this is what defines the center. So the 50/27 defines the pretty defined splenic center with the sacral, and then the 1858 is what is making this bridge between the root and the splenic center. Because you have a defined splenic center, it could be really important for you to have some kind of workout regimen to really allow yourself to move this energy, because having the 1858 channel, you are going to be correcting. You are going to be looking for the thing that is off, that is wrong, what needs to be, what am I dissatisfied with. It is your evolution sphere, so you could be really nitpicky about things and seeing that, oh, this is off. Oh, you're going to find the needle in the haystack. It's just what you're going to do. And if you're wired in a way to either nitpick yourself or nitpick others, it's going to be really easy to go into the negative, because what you're trying to do is correct. This is a whole projected channel, so it only works if you're invited. So whenever that energy is directed at people that you care about, that you love, it really stings, it really hurts. The 18 is your evolution, and the 58 is your radiance sphere. So you have this whole channel in your incarnation cross, and you are, I don't know what this cross is called. I can't remember. Is this healing? No.
The service?
I don't remember. I do not remember, but I wonder if you are in some kind of like healing practitioner or modality of the 58, which is about,
it's here. Yeah, it's definitely here to serve the world with the vitality of the 58, and then the perspective and the correction of the 18 and the 17. So
she could be a really good doctor in a way, I suppose. What is off, what is wrong with the health and the 58 is here to, see what's off and then arrive at that solution. I'm not sure. We shall see.
So what stands out for me, Ashley, is the first lines in the Venus. Vocation, first line, SQ, first line,
Oh,
EQ,
wow.
first line, IQ, first line. And at the same time, you're 4-6, so you're extremely transpersonal. Your attraction is a fifth line, and your pearl is also fifth line. So there is a very kind of, yeah, it's vast. And I wonder again here, what happened in your, what has happened your whole life? What is that? Possibly aloneness, possibly repression. Who in your lineage couldn't be who they were, who wasn't allowed to be natural, because 10.1 is all about naturalness, is all about physicality, it's all about depth. So who were not able to, who or why were people not able to express natural who they were as they were? That feels really, really important. And there is something where you have continued that. And it goes like a red thread or conducting thread through your childhood and up to your adult life. And what I want to say here, this is not who you're here to become. This is something that the soul needed to remember, maybe so powerfully so that it breaks out of it forever. You have the fire starter there in the SQ, and it's powerful. You have the 42 in the IQ, it cycles, and it's actually okay when things die. Because really, when we look at your pearl, and we see your culture, like it's very individual here. Your culture is the spontaneous voice that is working with a dynamic group of people that are where we are actually facing each other to see the truth, and we can laugh and we can cry together. There's no repression whatsoever in that 23.3. And same thing in the pearl. It's a fifth line. It's here to express truth spontaneously, uniquely, individually, from a double exponential expression. Pearl is kind of a throat center, we can say, and fifth line is the voice and the throat. And then the 10, again, that's the individual behavior. And it's even more individual than individual circuitry because it's integration channels here. So that's what you're here to become, but there's a journey that you're taking through your Venus. And we also see, I do feel like there is something, and I see this in Ashley too. She has the first line IQ and EQ. It is through relationships, and sometimes even through not like the hard experiences. That 27.5, like what has happened in relationships where nurturing has been manipulated, where corruption has been present. There is something with a relationship that I feel is going to shake you to become more of your true expression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm sensing a lot of maternal archetype here. So and I kind of feel how that might come from that side of your family as well. The 37, we call it the mother archetype. The 27 is the nourisher. It has a little bit of that mothering archetype. But if the 37.1 is repressed, did you get that mother? Was she attentive to the emotions? What is repressed in the emotional realm as well? And then I find it fascinating too, all the first lines like Bella was saying, but I also find it interesting that it's like, what is the fuel you're here to work with? It's the 10.1. Your core wound is the first line of repression, but there's something you're here to uniquely and individually create with yourself, your essence. 8.5, this is that uniqueness, the style. There's something you're bringing through that comes through you so spontaneously, taking initiative from that 10.1, being in your naturalness, being yourself, and spontaneously expressing, for good or for bad, whatever it is you say. It doesn't matter. Take it or leave it. Not reading to see like what is expected of me. Who do they want me to be? Because that's just compromising your pearl. You're here to be yourself. And yes, you are a nurturer. Yes, you can tune into what, what maybe, I mean, you're a mom of 3 kids. What the kids need, you can tune into that. But there's something too about your needs being met and your individuality being embraced and you being able to come out, because you could lose that with your 4-6 nature, really doing things for the other, leaving yourself behind. So in a way too, what can get repressed is a lot of you to serve the other. 4-6, fifth line attraction. You know, there's just something where you're going to lose yourself. And that's the reclaiming that we get in midlife. I mean, there's so many things that show up and happen to like break us free from this. The repression can stay repressed until our body starts to show us the way. And I know that when I was doing network spinal analysis, and I bring this up because when you've repressed yourself so much through the expectations of others, or through life, through the culture, through the role modeling, through the conditioning, whatever it is, you reach the middle of your life and you're like, whoa, wait a second. Who the hell am I? And you're like, well, I chose this career. Is this really what I want? Oh no, it's just what I'm just copying, right? It's not about imitation. That's not what the 8 does. It's innovating. It is bringing its uniqueness and style to the table. Your spontaneous expression is what is needed, you know. And so I feel like there's a fire that is always burning inside of you, but it's like, will you stoke it? Will you tend it? That inner child wants to know for certain that you care about that fire, and you're going to keep stoking it. Make it bigger. Make it grow. It's what's going to burn up the karma and the individuality that wasn't really individuality, that was more of the same, more of carbon copy. It feels like, let's burn up the carbon copy so we can come into the uniqueness, the individuality. And that's kind of in a way what you're reclaiming. And I don't know if this is all for certain. I'm kind of riffing off of all of this and making up a story, but I trust usually what spontaneously comes out of myself as well. So, and I'm a mother of 4, and I know what it's like. So
there is definitely something here similar to what I said to Deborah that I would love you to look at. So your IQ 42.1 is, it's the same as your South Node 42.4. So there is some kind of expectation that is also part of like how you think and how your mind can continue to have you live. And that would be how your soul, how you know, how like South Node is what you know, how you've lived before. And I would like you to look at what house is it in your astrology, because the house is kind of going to tell you in what area of life there is an expectation that your mind is having you keep fulfilling, where actually possibly there needs to be a detachment and even a death and rebirth. So that would be important. And there is something, I think, in the beginning when we look at the Jinky chart, like we say, those first lines, and then very transpersonal, being a 4-6 with a 5th line, pearl and attraction. There is this, I can see that in the nodes too, where you have more like the Aries energy in the South node, and then the Libra energy in the North node, and even that 50.6, it's about equilibrium. So there is something that you're here balancing in this lifetime, and maybe it is that very transpersonal cross of service and the other together with in a way that is honest. Including those first lines that are so deep and so individual. Like, how can you live that? How can you create an equilibrium out of that, out of the very individual, the very unique, together also with that vision, and the vision to serve, and the trust that you are here to be a lover of what you do for others, which is the 4th line, life's work. Mm. And I think that goes together also, the last thing with that responsibility, your life's work and the ability to zoom in and out and to understand, which is a logical ability, together with that 50-27, you feel a responsibility somehow for not only your own children, but the children of like the generations, the world. You know, there is something here where you have the eye for the corruption with the 17, the 18, and the 58. But how can you live that out without still repressing your own corruption, or the corruption of your own lineage that keeps you live some expectations that you're not even here to fulfill anymore? You're here to be guardian of what really matters, which is the 32, which comes back because that was the life's work in one of the other charts. So I think that's somehow for all of us today, and everybody who's here, everybody who's watching, you know, what are you a guardian for? what are the things that are worth preserving in a world right now where we have this conjunction with the North Node, with Uranus and Mars just passing by in Taurus? Simplicity. It's not supposed to be hard. We're not going to be able to preserve everything in the way that we have been consuming this land, this world, this planet. Like, what are you guarding for? What are the things that are worth preserving? That feels like kind of the question for us here, as we're moving into an uncertain future, where we're all becoming, examples, hopefully, for a way of living that is more constructive than what has been lived on this planet.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Heather, for sharing your chart. And also, I want to I feel like we went into, obviously, we're going to have Rewired coming up, but I just keep looking at what are we're the guardian of? The guardian of, myself. The guardian of, what do we have over here? Wisdom. Amy was the first one, the guardian of wisdom. And Deborah, the guardian of intimacy, transparency. We've got a third line here and a third line in the other one. And then the first line. Those are very personal lines as well.
And I would love to have feedback. I know that somebody we did a reading for a few weeks ago, it was just super, super cool to read the things that were resonating, and also, of course, the things that if they aren't resonating. So feel free to write something or to drop a video and say, this is something that came out for me from the reading, to kind of continue to plant the seeds of your own opening, your own I guess deconditioning. So that's always something that Ashley and I love doing, because sometimes it feels like we're just speaking to a screen and we don't really know what's happening on the other side. Yeah. And Deborah, yeah, I understand. Yours felt weird, because I felt like my voice was even changing, and
Deborah said it was heavier than I expected. That's what Bella's responding
I
to.
felt like my voice was I feel like the whole reason for why my voice has been like this for 2 days was to do that with your chart. I don't know why, but
Yeah, and Deborah's usually smiling and lighthearted, and there's just something that needed to be, the heaviness that needed to be brought, because that's the transparency. Here's what's here,
And I will remember, Deborah, like as I walk away from this reading, I'm gonna remember that SQ for you, that little child that feels like this, and then knowing that when you become the alchemist of karma, she's gonna feel safer. Like, that's really powerful, and that's gonna stay with me.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your presence here, and those of you that shared your charts. You made this happen with sharing your body graph. If you are interested in joining us for the Lionsgate portal, I'd love for you to come bit.ly/UYD-rewired. 2 days, $44 until Sunday. And we hope to see you there. But thanks for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. Thank you. Goodbye.